how are you? Hope you're well. So today I am starting a new video that I thought would be quite fun to do. First and foremost, I need to get my fringe trimmed. It is hanging in my eyeballs, so just excuse any clips filmed today. Thank you. I thought it'd be fun to kind of try out a few new authors that are quite popular that I've never read before. I've had my eye on these authors for quite a while now, and in general, I just thought it'd be fun to make a little reading vlog of trying a few of their books and seeing what I think of them and if I like them. Like I said, I've been interested in these authors for a little bit now, so I don't exactly know how many books I'm going to be reading in this vlog. I have 2 that I know for certain, so it's going to be at least 2 books that I'll be reading, but maybe there'll be some more. So I guess we're just gonna find out together who's in this video. I hope you enjoy. So the first author that I'm going to be reading for this video, I'm so excited for. The book that I'll be picking up isn't the one I thought I would be picking up. However, it's just one of those books where I kept seeing it in bookstores and online and other people are reading it, and it is a fairly new release. It was released at least a month ago, I want to say at this point, but I don't know when the release date for this was. I just know it came out fairly recently, as in this year. So yeah, I just decided to start with this one instead of the original one that I was going to go with. But I'm still very excited because I've heard a lot of good things. I have heard that she is very good at writing a romance story with very emotional characters. They have a lot of depth to them and it goes beyond just their actual relationship, which is something that I'm starting to look for quite a lot in my romance books, hence Emily Henry. And the way her books are described, they remind me of Emily Henry quite a lot. The first author that I'll be reading in this video is Abby Jimenez, and I'll be reading just for the summer. I was originally intending on reading The Friend Zone, which was actually a gift from my boyfriend about a year ago. He bought it for me, and he got it for me right when I started to go into my winter fantasy phase, so I just haven't picked it up. So I was intending on picking that one up, but like I said, this cover has been catching my eye. Everyone's talking about it, and I really wanted to read this one. I didn't realize until after I bought it that this is book 3 in the Part of Your World series, but they're interconnected standalones, so it's fine. I own every book of hers aside from Part of Your World because they've all gone on sale for ridiculously cheap prices, the ebooks that is, and I was like, why not? She sounds right up my alley. She sounds like Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. So this might be the summer of Abby Jimenez for me. We will see. It would be exciting if it is. Also, my summer goes until November, so we'll see. But I'm very excited to start this. I haven't yet. I'm hopefully starting it tomorrow or the day after, but I'm very excited to finally give her a shot, and my hopes are very high for her. I genuinely do think I'm going to like her, so I will check back in once I finish this book, and hold thumbs, cross your fingers, cross your toes, whatever the wishing you well sign is where you're from, do that for me because I'm really wanting to enjoy her work. So yeah. Hi, so gonna be very frank, I completely forgot I was filming this, so I have a lot of updates to do. Do not mind the fact that I'm doing them all in one day, but I did finish Just for the Summer. I actually finished it 3 weeks ago at this point, I think. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I really fell in love with Abby Jimenez's writing, and I absolutely can't wait to continue reading her work. I will say this book was a little weird for me because I was struggling with the premise a little bit at first because they met on Reddit, which was weird for me, and then how they ended up being able to go on their dates to try and break the curse was also weird for me. How are you gonna do all that for a man that you met on Reddit? It was weird. I didn't like it. But once they started hanging out though, that weirdness for me went away completely, and honestly, I really did enjoy it. They clicked so well. Justin is such an amazing book boyfriend. Like, he is top tier. I love that Emma was such a well-rounded character, and watching her grow throughout the book was really heartwarming and sweet, and I just really loved watching her from start to finish. And then in general, I'm not one of those people that hate epilogues and prologues. Quite frankly, I don't fully understand why some people hate it. I usually don't mind them, enjoy them, like it's a part of the story for me. But this epilogue in particular was so cute. I was dying reading it. I absolutely love that the book started with Justin posting on r/Am I the Asshole, and then ended with Justin posting on r/Am I the Asshole. It was just very cute. I loved it. I loved how their relationship progressed, and overall this book just made me feel so warm and fuzzy. And as you can tell, this is a pretty thick romance book. It's 400 pages, and if you know me, you know I have strong opinions on lengths of romance books, but because she's very Emily Henry-esque, where it feels more like a lit fic book that has a very, very heavy romance subplot, I didn't mind the length that much. I think I got a little bit bored just throughout like this first section a little bit. Since it's been weeks since I finished this, I don't even really remember being bored. I just remember loving this. So overall, really love this book. I'm very excited to continue reading Abby Jimenez. This was such a success, and I'm so happy I finally gave her a shot. I would absolutely love to try and read all of her catalog before her next release. She hasn't announced anything, so I have at least a year, hopefully. And I definitely think I'm just going to start sprinkling her in between some of my fantasies if I need a little bit of a break. So I'm very excited, and I'm very happy, and I'm so happy that she was the first author in this video. So the second book in this Reading New Authors challenge, I actually finished yesterday. I knew I didn't film an intro for it, but like I said, I completely forgot that I was filming this, so I didn't realize until just a second ago that I never filmed an outro for the summer. So lots of thoughts. The next new author that I will be reading, I'm also very excited for, and that is Done and Dusted by Lyla Sage. So I, much like everyone else, looked at this book cover and went, I need it on my shelf, I need to read it. And I did. I read it pretty quickly. I read it in 3 days. It's a very short book. It's only 320 pages, and the other books are even shorter, which is really great. And then this is also my first ever cowboy romance, so just a lot of new things with this specific book that was happening. Like I mentioned, I actually finished it yesterday, so I ended up giving this 3 stars. And I felt kind of iffy finishing this book yesterday. However, now that it's sat with me for a day, I feel less iffy, but I do still think the 3 stars is the perfect rating for it. And the reason for that is I enjoyed it. It was a very quick read. This is one of those books where it's just very easy to pick up, to read, and you fly through it. Like, there's nothing challenging about reading this book, and I mean that as a compliment because that's exactly what I was looking for when I picked this up. The main character, Clementine, she was pretty interesting. One of my problems with this book is the fact that the premise of this book is she came home because she's a racer, a horse racer, and she got into an accident, so she came home. The problem is I really wish that we learned more about the accident and saw her dealing with it a bit more. This book is very, very romance heavy. There's basically no plot. Any plot that is there is really just thrown in more so to get the romance to develop rather than it actually being for the plot. And I just wish we had a little bit more plot. Like, I understand that it's a romance book and it's not supposed to be about the plot, but it just got a bit boring because all that was happening was the romance. So I do wish that we just got the itsy bitsiest bit of plot to just kind of like add an element of interest, I guess. However, since this book is so short, I don't really knock it, and reading the rest of the series, again, book 2 is less than 300 pages, so if there's minimal to no plot, I'm also not going to harp on it that much, because at least I'm guessing just a short romance. The other thing I really enjoyed was actually the raunch setting. For those of you who haven't watched my South African Judges a Book set in South Africa, which by the way, you should go watch that. I'll leave the link in the bio. If you haven't watched that, you won't know that my family actually owns a farm in South Africa. They're farmers. I didn't grow up on the farm because it's my grandpa's on my mom's side, and then him and my uncle run it, but we visited there a lot, and the farm was just a very large part of my life. And then, much like the Rebel Blue ranch in this book, it is a cattle farm, and we have sheep there as well. So it was just very interesting because that was the closest I've ever gotten in a book to reading about something that I actually experienced in my home life in terms of like a farm. That being said, I don't really pick up, this was my first cowboy romance. I've never read cowboy romances before, so maybe the more I read, the more I can relate to that. But it's fun knowing that I can do that, because I personally, I like to do things. I love to be in nature, but I love to be in nature in a city where I can do stuff, you know, close by to things. I don't like the isolation of a farm. However, it's a very near and dear place to my heart, so that really just made me love this book quite a bit because of that sentimental value that I hold, and it was just nice to read about a little bit, even though it's still very different from what the farm life that I experienced was. I do have to say, the relationship development in this book is crazy quick. He is into her in his first chapter because they both get POV. So in his first POV chapter, he's into her, which was chapter 2, and in her like second or third POV, she was into him, so that was chapter like 3 or 4. They're into each other, like there was no tension. They got together before the halfway mark, and I just, at this point, you know what I look for in romances. I like tension, I like slow burn, I like waiting for a payoff. I don't like when characters get together like that unless there is a ton of other plot happening and romance is not the main focus of the book, because then I have other things to keep my interest, if that makes sense. This one doesn't have any other plot, it just has the romance, and they were into each other before page 50. So it was just very quick, and I didn't like it that much. I do wish it was more of a slow burn. And then I was enjoying my time with this book quite a lot. It was a fun time. And then I got to a scene where it was Teddy's birthday and they were at the Devil's Boot, and it's the bar fight scene where they then go into his office. And if you've read it, you know exactly the scene I'm talking about. Skip the rest of that chapter, and quite frankly was just a little angry finishing the book after reading that. So I'm happy I had a day to sit on this, because at least like those feelings have gone. But that scene, did not like it. Very happy I skipped it, and definitely made me like this book less. Could have been like a 3.5, but yeah. But overall, those were my thoughts. I'm definitely going to continue this series because, one, look at the covers. I want them on my shelf, and 2, these are just really, really fun if you need something you can read within like 5 days that is just quick, it's light, you don't need to use your brain. I think this is great if you're feeling slumpy and you're like, and you just need a little pick-me-up and you need to not use your brain. So I'm definitely going to continue the series, but it's not something that I'm itching to binge and finish and get up to date right now. I think I'll just read them as I'm feeling in the mood for them, honestly. So maybe I'll read one of them on the farm whenever we next visit. That would be fun. Maybe. We will see. But that was my opinion. On to the next book. Okay, last update for today. I actually started book 3 this morning. I'm only on page 62, so we're on track again. Sorry about that. The next and final book that I'll be reading in this reading vlog is another new author. Obviously, that is the theme of this video, but it is Ashley Elston, First Lie Wins. So if you are on the internet, you've probably heard of this book. It blew up quite a bit when it got released. I don't know why. This is one of those books where I know it's popular, but I never figured out why it was popular or what made it popular. I just know everyone and their grandmothers was talking about this. I decided to do this one because I was just interested, and then this was actually given to me. We went on a little holiday with my boyfriend's family, and his stepmom is a reader, so every time she finishes a good book, she just donates it straight to me, and this was one of them. And yeah, I decided to pick it up because it's very popular. I wanted to read it, and then I was given the physical copy, so why not? I will kind of be listening to this as well because I'm waiting for a couple other books to come through from the library, so I'll be listening and physically reading this one. Like I said, I'm that far into it, and it's pretty interesting so far. Not gonna lie, I read the first 2 chapters and I was like, ugh, I'm not gonna like this, but I kept pushing through, and we finally got to a little bit of a reveal, which is kind of crazy because if you don't know, this book is essentially about the main character. She doesn't exist. Like, she says she's Evie Porter, but that's not who she actually is. She's somebody else. She made up a name, she made up a personality, she made everything up. She's like a fake person. The story's about her, and we got a little bit of a reveal. So I'm very interested, I'm very intrigued, and I cannot wait to finish this. I can't say nearly as much about this one as I can the other two since it is a mystery thriller, I believe, or a suspense mystery, but either way I can't be going too in depth. But I am excited to read it and find out what it's about and see if I like it or not. But yeah, final book of this video. So I finished First Lie Wins, which is the final book in this reading new authors challenge. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It keeps doing that, so I'm just gonna put it down. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was decently interesting enough, and I really wanted to know how it ended. I wanted to understand what the point of the book was, because this is definitely not the type of mystery thriller that I usually pick up, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just very new for me. However, and I'm not going to say what trope theme it was, but this does have a certain theme where the main character, it involves her job. I can say that. It involves the main character's job. I don't usually like stories about having that career job type of thing. I find it kind of boring, and in general that kind of applied a little bit here. Like, this is one of those books where I was interested enough to get to the end because I wanted to know what happens. However, I'll be very honest, it was also just a waiting game of how long before this is finished. This book was given to me, as I mentioned earlier, so I don't think this is a book that I would have necessarily picked out for myself had it not been given to me. I had been intrigued to read it before it was given to me because it was so popular. However, it was kind of like those, maybe I'll get to it, maybe I'll get to it, maybe I'll get to it, but I probably never actually would have, because there are other mystery thriller suspense books that I much rather would have actually read. So for the most part, it's not really a book I would have picked out for myself, and it's not bad by any means. I really don't mean it in that way. It's just simply a lot of things about it weren't for me, and I mean, I guess that's fine. Will I read another Ashley Elston book? Possibly. The writing wasn't bad or anything, so this isn't like a strike against her personally. However, if her books are similar to this one, then I think I'll probably start to not pick them up, because then they're just not written for me personally, which is fine. But as of right now, I wouldn't be opposed to reading her next novel if she comes out with one. However, I won't be dying to get to it either. It's kind of just like, if it seems interesting, I'll pick it up. If it doesn't, I probably won't. So yeah, However, like I mentioned, that was the last book of this video. It was very fun. It was exciting to finally read new authors for the first time, especially since all of the authors in this video are very popular. I've heard a lot of things about, and it was just very fun. I did happen to read the books in order of most liked to least, which is, I think, is funny. Abby Jimenez will probably be a new favorite author. I'm going to read her entire backlist. I would love to do it before her next release. I don't think I'm gonna binge her work, but she'll definitely be the author that I reach for if I'm looking for just a fun in-between book. Lyla Sage is really fun. I love how short the books are. I definitely want to continue the Rebel Blue Ranch series. However, I'm not like dying to get to it. It's kind of just gonna be one of those books where it's like, I feel like reading just a very short, light-hearted book that I don't need to think about. I can just, it's just like a low break type of book. I would like to try and get up to date though, so I would like to read Swift and Swaddled. I would like to read Swift and Saddled relatively soon, just so that I can, you know, be up to date by the time that the third and fourth books comes out. So yeah. And then First Light Winds we just talked about, it's you know, don't know if I'll pick her up again, but maybe. Let me know if you've read any of these authors or any of these books, which one is your favorite. If you like me or my videos, I would really appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.